Mbach did it. They released a blog post detailing their melee rework, aka the melee rework that everyone has been doubting for however long. We're introducing the new melee system, which is great because it's not what a lot of people are thinking, which is completely gutting them. I think overall this is great, but I'll touch more on that in the end. As we've said previously, we feel melee has two core problems we like to solve. We want to make melee a more viable style of play with a fairer chance to win matches, and we want to ensure melee is not frustrating for those who die to it. This is a very odd way of wording it, because it doesn't feel great to die in video games. And the issue is, there are a lot of weapons in this game that don't feel great to die to, not just melee. Like, it is something that's to be said for the amount of people who complain about, like, dual blades, riot shield, sledgehammer, sword. But in most cases, it's just a matter of not having any game sense, which is an issue in itself. Like, the game should be, like, obviously, if you're here, shooting at each other, you kill them, that feels fair, that feels fine even if you die. But what they're thinking is, if you go behind the person, attack them, chunk them down, and they only get to shoot back a bit, it's gonna feel a little bit less fair. So it does make a bit of sense. However, this is a double barrel. This is a double barrel shotgun. The player can go invis, they can use cloak bomb, they can use the cloak thing, I can't draw it. They can use the cloak thing, they can use dash, they can get in close distance, chunk you down. Even then, the main issue is that melee offers a larger... Like, obviously with shotguns you have to aim, you only have like a big box of where the pellets land. But with melee you have this big, you have basically like this much of your screen will hit them, as well as the attackers out for longer. So I understand where they're coming from. With that being said, I think if you flank behind someone, you get the jump on them, and you have a melee weapon, you should be able to kill them. If you run directly at someone and they chunk down half your health and you still win, even with them landing every single shot, that is BS, right? I think that is a fair enough assumption to make. Anyway, keep going. They've done 4 distinct things. They have increased the potential power level of each melee weapon, making it possible to have more impact in fights than before. Introducing new mechanics that aim to gate power behind player skill. Rebalanced and added additional functionality to some of the bespoke secondary functions on some of the melee weapons, such as the right shield and dual blades, to give those weapons more control on more distinct styles of play. I'll touch more on these when we go down, but I would like to talk about number 1 firstly. I understand Mbach wants to generate hype for Season 11. However, I think this is a bit of a misplay. They should at least have given an example here. Because they do give examples lower, they have no actual numbers. So, I'm not going to scroll down now, but later on, it will say, specifically, this is for Spear, right? Spear has a spin secondary attack, which is the only good part of Spear's weapon. Like, I'll get a quote from my friend who is a melee main here. So, there's basically, they show there's a new way to use the M2, or they've replaced how the old M2 works, but they don't give us any numbers. And this is a recurring theme. It only shows the new attacks, it only shows new mechanics, it does not show any form of numbers. I'm sure this will be fine, but it is a bit concerning that they're showing us all these things for... Anyway, increased power potential. To increase the chances that melee users can compete in matches and have a chance to win tournaments, we needed to increase the potential power of melee weapons. For gun users in the finals, winning 2 versus 1 fights or even 3 versus 1 fights is something that can be achieved from time to time. But for melee users, they frequently face scenarios where they can get one elimination before being eliminated by another player, essentially trading kills, because frequently they don't have the time to close from one target to the next. This is, in fact, true. There are many, like, unless people are grouping together, and they are hitting each other, right? Body blocking. This guy has, I don't know what gun this is, Tommy gun, I don't know. This guy is trying to shoot me. I'm a dagger player, and I'm running up to him. I hit him with M1 a few times to try and bait out his RPG, because he's a heavy, he has an RPG. Even then, even if I kill this guy, it's still very hard for me to close the gap, even if they aren't hitting any shots. So you don't often want to take 2v1 fights unless they're all very low or all very bad. But with especially for people who are really good at the game, or like really good at shooters in general, like say this is an FK. I know it doesn't look anything like an FK. You can just go from 1 kill, boom, he's on 50 health, he's dead, flick to the next person, dead, flick to the next person, dead. You can easily get like 3 kills in 1 mag if they're all low, right? Melee users do not have that. The most they have is multi-hit, and even then, like the only weapon that's actually good at fighting multiple people at once is spear, funnily enough, but it isn't even, they have to be very, very grouped up, and you have to be sitting in the middle of them to hit them all. Okay, so they want to change this not to make 2v1 fights easy, but to increase the chances that a good melee player playing well has a greater chance to occasionally win out in these scenarios. To get melee to a power level where this might be possible, we've changed a number of things. First, we've done a full balance pass on all the weapons. They don't tell us what this is. Increasing damage, modifying swing speeds, and adjusting ranges. This has increased the potential power of the majority of melee weapons. This is a great change. Melee is very underpowered. It is only strong in melee range, and you can't shoot people outside melee range. You have to play, I don't know, dual blades, and you get a lucky reflect. I think it should be a hot take that a melee weapon should be strong in melee range, but a lot of people don't believe that melee belongs in the finals. I think it does. It is one of my favorite playstyles. I just think it's a shame because a lot of the melee weapons are very, very one-dimensional. All melee weapons can now lunge towards an enemy when making an attack. This is the thing they actually tell us about. The size of lunges have been extended. The thing was, this is like the main thing that Spear had for a while. It had a lunge. The Spear is supposed to have the most range, and in the screenshot it does show the Spear, but it isn't particularly good at all. So with this change, Spear has to be buffed, because otherwise, Spear is still useless. The Spear will have access to long range more often, but it's still very stupid. This varies from weapon to weapon, so maybe like 6 meter lunge for Spear. I think this is a great change. It means, first of all, Dagger is less reliant on dash, which is amazing. And the main issue with old lunge is that you just stick to people. You don't really have like an actual lunge at people. You just kind of move forward and you just move forward constantly at them. It just means running away is very annoying. And I think now with the lunge, they'll have one lunge and they'll get on you and they have to follow up quickly and not miss all their shots. And I think this is a great change. I do like this. I think this is a good change. It adds gap closing to every melee weapon, makes them less reliant on specs, and they reworked the attack sequences of many things. Dual blades now is a true attack sequence. This is huge because what happened, I think it shows later, but if you attack while blocking with dual blades, you now do the cross attack, which is the 100 damage thing. It used to be 60, which is as much as like the second set of attacks, how it hits twice. It's 2 sets of 50. 2 sets of 60, and it used to be a third 60 with just both, and it went on a had tons of event lag as well. And the issue is, as dual blades would just lunge onto people and hit both attacks consistently, and the last attack was very, like on dual blades you don't really miss both attacks. You either miss both attacks or hit both attacks. And the final attack being 60 just meant people would quick melee so they could get to the 50, 50, 60, 60 again faster. Overall, that is a great change. I do like that. The attack sequence changes the buffs. Something else I do want to mention. Spear has the worst attack sequence in the game. It does basically no damage on the first hit. It does 65 damage on the first hit. For perspective, hitting someone with a chair does 60 damage, and then it's 80, 90. Like the first hit, like lasts a bit longer. Like it's pretty slow, but it has a wider sweep. That does not make up for anything. The issue is, you don't need a larger hitbox if you can hit your shots. So if you can aim, just play Sledgehammer. Just play Sledgehammer and hit people with M2 constantly. There's no reason to play Spear, there never was. Unless you're playing Power Shift. Anyway, I'm hoping they don't show it for Spear. They do show a single attack here. I believe it is like a forward. I believe it's a forward poke, so I think they removed the first slash. Yeah, see? Anyway, frustration of melee victims. Screw new mechanics have set some of this increased power and reduced the frustration of being on the receiving end of melee attacks. We've introduced 2 new systems, stamina and precision, that make melee combat more skill-driven. We know stamina systems are a concerning idea for a lot of our melee players, as they feel these types of mechanics are often very frustrating in other games. I want to stress that what stamina does in the finals is quite different. Being out of stamina does not reduce damage, it does not reduce movement speeds, and does not slow attacks. Instead, it acts more as a kind of combo throttle. I think this is actually huge, because first off, if you limit how people use their secondary attacks, the secondary attacks have to be good, because if they aren't good, then there's no point in ever using your secondary attack. This happened with Sword, kind of a thing on Riot Shield, because you don't have to block, because you can literally just bishop people to death. You don't have, because hitbox is always active. Player performs an attack and lunges so stamina bar is consumed. While out of stamina, players can still attack, run, and do the same damage, but they will not have lunges, so The lunge and the secondary attack on Sphere are both controlled by the stamina system. Sword now has two types of lunges. I don't like this. I think removing rotation on Sword and just having the lunge only be on secondary would be a lot better. Anyway, when you land a precise hit, you instantly get your stamina back. It is not difficult to consistently hit that, and just being able to lunge onto someone with more powerful lunges than before, it might be worse than before for people to fight. Anyway, it does punish people who rush their attacks and frequently miss a target. It's like 90% of console Sword players in Point Break. You have to manage stamina and keep scoring precise hits. Precision is the biggest thing in this update so far. Any part of a hit sweep with a melee weapon causes the same amount of damage. Precision, different parts of the sweep do different amounts of damage. Precision zone at the center of the sweep will cause precise hits that do the maximum amount of damage, with many other melee weapons receiving a damage buff compared to Season 10. Any hits made by a sweep that are outside the precision zone are considered glancing blows and do less damage. Yeah, so this is the thing. You still don't say how much damage it does. Just say like a percentage. Just say, oh, it does like 80% less damage. Like, I'd be fine with that, right? I can hit my shots. The thing I'm worrying about is that will this apply to Dagger's backstab? Dagger players will now have to be the most precise people on Earth to land a backstab on a weapon that is already at such a disadvantage. The issue I am having is that if you land a glancing blow as a backstab, well, how much damage will that do? Because in this clip, you can barely see the frame where I touch his back. Like, okay, so what will happen there? They don't talk about Dagger at all. Just Control F, Dagger, bum bum bum. They don't talk about it at all. So my question is, will precision blows apply to backstabs? You can't really spam backstab. It's such a slow startup. Like, how much time does it take to charge up a backstab? 800 milliseconds. 800 milliseconds with 5 active frames. So you're already balancing, almost taking a full second out of your time to backstab someone. Realistically, you're gonna be holding M2 for longer than that. Then there are 5 frames, which if this means 5 ticks or not, it could mean like 3 ticks. But like Dagger is already a very hard weapon to play well against good players specifically. If you can tread your way through a bunch of bad players, but it's very, very hard. Anyway, hang on, I lost my train of thought. I want to know what this does with Dagger. Plus, the damage, lunges, and attacks mentioned above increase the overall power potential of melee weapons, and better reward melee players for getting close to their targets. But, with precision and stamina, melee players are now required to be more deliberate in their actions to access this potential. We feel this mix creates the right balance between increasing melee weapons' power potential, while reducing some of the frustrations many players express when facing melee. Blah 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 blah, impactful at that. Secondary functions, this is the big stuff, because they actually took a look at Spear and decided, you know, this is such an awful weapon, how are we going to salvage this? Riot Shield has the collision updated to make it slightly larger and more reliable, as well as more accurate, making it more effective at blocking bullets, and making it a total style of play. Sure, make Riot Shield harder, make Riot Shield absorb more damage. Getting shot does not reduce stamina. There's a shield bash. I think the shield bash is funny. This does like no damage though. Damage has been slightly reduced. It's gonna go from doing 90 per hit to doing like 75 or something. It's like no breakpoints will change or something. It'll be stupid. Yeah, so this is what I was saying before. Dual blades now. Third attack in the sequence has now been removed because they wanted to make the powerful attack more accessible and not have it blocked behind the 15 seconds of 50-50, 60-60. And then they do the lunge and the... I think this will look really cool. I think this will be a really cool animation-wise. I'm surprised I didn't mention dual blade reflecting at all. I genuinely thought Embark would have M2 reflect a lot better, but also have M2 tied to stamina usage. Anyway, Spear. This is a mouthful, but TLDR, you swing once. You swing once. If you hit someone, you can keep holding the button and you can swing again. We don't know if it does more damage. It doesn't make the attack. It means you get the perks of Spear spin cancelling, but it's also different. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I asked my friend, who is at least on Finals.id, they are a top 10 Spear player. They have basically been playing nothing but Spear for the entire time they've been playing the finals. Like their second most played weapon is Sledge, followed by Lewis Gun. Editing Bun here. I don't know why in the original recording I didn't I don't know why I didn't actually say what she said. I think it was because I hadn't gotten a reply from her at that point yet. But as recording this video, I reached out to the #1 Spear player. This girl is on fire. I did reach out for a second earlier in the video where I talked about how useless M2 compared to M1 in base spear kit, and they did give me what they said in the Discord about the rework, and I'll pull it up on screen, but it doesn't look good because I need to play it to see if it's good or not. But yeah, they share the same opinion as me, which is I didn't think spear needed a rework. I think you need a tiny little nudge and just the ability to cancel M2, because if you're playing it with animation cancelling, it is a pretty fun combo-based weapon. Like, you use the M2 when you're in close and you use M1 when people are retreating. It's very fun to play like that. Even though it isn't very good, it is very fun to play like that, and I don't think the new rework, from what we see at least, Stamina being a combo throttle mechanic, I think it's gonna push everyone into a more very M1 heavy playstyle, and I don't think that's what, I don't think that's a good direction for Melee, but we'll still have to see. Also, this video was meant to come out a lot earlier, but in the original recording, I rambled, like, multiple periods. I rambled for very, very long periods of time. I didn't have a script or anything, I was just basically rambling, and then when I was saying things, I didn't realize I was wrong, and I had to go back. Like, I would realize I was wrong later, and then I'd mention it again. And overall, it was just, I should have looked into it a bit more before starting, but here we are. But overall, I'm excited for Melee rework, and I think it'll be great, at least to medium Melee. Like, medium Melee is the thing that needed Melee rework the most, but we'll have to see about Spear, because Spear apparently, in the bot trailer, it does 74 damage, which is it's not a lot, considering the second and third attacks of Spear M1 are doing 80 and 90 damage. It is not great, because 75 does not help with breakpoints, you just have to run Lynch or Lockbolt now. When the attack is triggered, it will consume stamina and perform a single spin attack, that's what I said, making the attacker faster and committing the player to spinning for less time. So basically, M2 does one spin. If you hit an enemy, then the stamina will refill, and you will be able to hit someone again, which will consume the stamina again. I don't know how much damage it will do. Surely it hasn't changed too much, because they don't want to have a spear via spamming AoE thing. My question is though, you can do it 3 times, but will it use the actual ult animation? Because the third hit is never worth it. You are faster, cancelling currently on Spear. It is a lot faster to cancel after the second spin and start a new attack. It's just dual blades all over again. And then still remove rotation constraints because they can balance it now. I think that's cool. However, what I would like is for them to nerf M1 damage. Or at least we'll have to see how this plays out. Nerf M1. Nerf M1. Nobody is light running at you and hitting you 5 times. Like, I'm fine. I'd rather fight Prime Yellow Jacket, Prime Glencam, which I was already doing on OC Quick Cash service. I'd rather fight them doing Helicopter Sword, whatever it was. I'd rather fight them than fight one of these new gen console lights, level 20, running at me, spamming M1, killing me faster than the best sword players can. People on Reddit decided that it was a good melee rework because someone made a video about Yellow Jacket saying that it was a bad rework. They're a sword player, let's not listen to their opinion. Let's not listen to what they have to say. Let's not listen to any... Because, like, if you ask any player who plays a melee weapon what an ideal rework would be, they'd give it a lot of different things. I don't think making sword into a mindless M1 machine was in anyone's book. They're like, okay, maybe make lunge, like, I'm sure a lot of people would have suggested rotation clamp, but 40 degrees is insane. And also, lunge is based on what the server sees. So if you turn around too fast, you will just, like, I don't know, I'll turn around, I'll lunge, and I'll flick like halfway back here, and my camera will be locked right here. Okay, not where I want it to be. Like, this is a very simple thing to mess up, and I know that there could probably be exploits where people will have no camera lunge and just fix the exploits, rather than making it feel awful to use on higher ping, make it awful to use if you have like a more active playstyle where you're actually turning around instead of lunging and then spamming M1. I don't know, it's just stupid. I think making sword more M2 dependent is great, especially with the new stamina system, because they show in this thing right here, M2 now uses stamina. If they don't manage it well, they're just gonna make sword more of an M1 machine, because normally the only resource you're losing is time. People can shoot you while you're charging up the M2. You can play in ways to mitigate that, so you can use M2 more often, right? But now, if you want to lunge at someone with left click and then keep hitting them with left click, you're now taking away a resource when you use M2. Right? This is the thing I'm worried about. The last change is updating how melee works. Basically, Stamina. I'm not sure if this means stamina for only melee weapons. It will be more confusing for new players if they don't know what stamina is. I think this will probably work, but melee players should win the majority of the time when up against a gun user at close range, but allowing the gun user to at least some chance to perform a well-executed counter and create space would create engagement rather than foregone conclusion. I think that is great. I think this can be, if well executed, this is great. Just being able to push someone away, I'd rather be knocked back than stunned. But the issue is, Shockwave exists in the game. This is Shockwave, I'm making it blue now. Shockwave exists in the game, and 90% of the time, you just get hit by it, and you go flying, you go up in the air in a predictable thing, or you just go, whoa, and now you have to close the gap again. I think adding stamina is great. But the issue is, how will we control stamina? Because I want to be, if I'm in a melee fight, I get kicked directly in the face, and I get pushed away. And I used my stamina because I was right in his face. If I click right in his face and use all my stamina has to only be used when lunging at close range. If I'm sniffing this guy, I stab him. I should not use all my stamina in this bit, because now he just kicks me away. Go, oh no, I've been kicked away. Oh no. Oh no, I've been kicked away. Now I have no stamina, and they just shoot me to death, and I go, wow. But what I want to happen is I want to be able to save it, and when they kick me, they use their stamina, and I get pushed back, and I go back in again with my stamina. I think that would be cool. But the question is, will that happen or not? I don't know. Because with Shockwave, you just get pushed away if you already use Winch, if you already use Grapple, if you already used all your dashes, and if you used all your dashes and getting Shockwave, that's just kind of a skill issue. He shows if you get Shockwaved away, then you have no more resources to close the gap. So, taking away resources out of the player's control will be bad. If handled well, this will be great. The question is though, will stamina, because with dash, this is just instantly negated by dash, you don't need to worry about stamina. So, we'll have to just wait and see. I think it'll be funny to kick people. Counter melee attackers when they get too close. Potential counter items. Okay, so finally we mentioned that Winch Claw is a problem. However, the issue with Winch Claw, the main issue is, when you get winched, you take like 150 damage for free. It's not 150 most of the time, but if you're taking like 70 damage without being able to react at all, that is an issue. And the other issue is that often your first shot will just completely not register against Winch Claw players. Winch Claw will cancel you out of things. Before I mention this too much, you should watch Verity's video on fixing Winch Claw, because it is a very, very good video. It goes into all the issues, it goes into a potential rework, which is very similar to what I and a lot of people have been suggesting for a long while, which is just give it a wind up. But Winch Claw, I don't think Kick will do much against Winch Claw. 90% of the time you get winched, you take 135 damage from the lowest gun headshot, or you just get winch BFR headshot by the upside down L. Winch Claw takes no skill to use, and is not very difficult to utilize well. Fights are won by winches. If you win, like the reason everyone runs dash now is because if you get winched, you don't want to die instantly. That feels bad, which is the same issue that the team seems to have for melee. They have reduced quick melee damage. I'm not sure if this is just for melee or entirely. Anything below 30 is bad for dagger players, because there's already been the issue of backstabbing and heavy being infused and not being able to land the quick melee before they exit the threshold. But now this is even more of an issue, especially if there's if you can't instantly cancel into a quick melee anymore, which is what happened in the mid-season update. During the mid-season update, you were not able to instantly cancel into a quick melee, and that was a pretty big issue because a lot of weapons actually depend on that. Dagger, sword for certain combos, spear, and sometimes sledge. I don't know. I don't play too much sledge anymore. Anyway, I think overall this will be great. I thought they were going to turn spear into a throw and make melee into side ups. I think overall this is a great change. I'm not sure how it'll be. Not sure how much other people will think of it. So overall, I think this is great. This is awesome. Just please don't mess up like Season 8. Do not mess up with Season 8 and just do a big drop at the beginning of the season and just completely ignore like half your fan base for the TGM, because personally, I don't care much for esports. I will watch esports highlights. I'll barely ever go out of my way to watch esports. I'll watch it if it's there, but I genuinely don't care. The only reason I bought an esports bundle was for a stupid meme for just to get a green aura. That was the only reason I've ever bought an esports bundle, and I don't know who. The only team I really care about is Ape Squad, because they're like a normal like they're a fully finals organization, if I remember correctly. But yeah, enough yapping. I'm gonna have to go and edit this. Yay!